Be Me, 39, feminist influencer and relationship blogger based in Brooklyn. Spent entire 16-year career posting one message constantly. Men are the problem. This has been my entire brand, my identity, my platform for over a decade and a half. Every blog post, every social media update, every article starts with this premise. Men are the problem in dating. Men are the problem in relationships. Men are the problem in society. I've built massive following of women who relate to this message deeply. Women share my content constantly, validate my perspective, celebrate my takes. I have 3 million followers across platforms, book deals, speaking engagements, corporate partnerships. My message resonates because women feel frustrated, feel let down, feel disappointed. And I give them explanation. Men are the problem, always men, consistently men. I never questioned this narrative, never examined if it was true, never considered consequences. It was profitable, it was popular, it was what my audience wanted to hear. My personal life has been a series of failed relationships, but that validated my message. Every failed relationship proved my point. Men are the problem. Men can't commit. Men disappoint. I documented every breakup online, analyzed every failure, blamed every man. My followers loved it, related to it, shared it endlessly across social media. 2024 comes, and I'm 39 years old, single, looking for serious relationship. I want commitment now. I want marriage potentially. I want stability and partnership. I start dating seriously for first time in years, actually looking for commitment. I meet first man, 42-year-old lawyer, successful, articulate, seems stable. We go on several dates. Conversation flows well. Chemistry seems good. I'm thinking this could be something. This could develop into relationship. Then he Googles me, finds my social media presence, reads my content. He sees years and years of posts saying men are the problem. He sees me documenting failed relationships, blaming men for everything. He sees me posting about toxic masculinity, male privilege, male inadequacy. Next date. His energy is different, more distant, more guarded, more careful. I ask him, "Is everything okay? You seem different tonight." He responds, "I need to be honest with you about something important. I found your social media content and read through your posts. You've spent years posting about how men are the problem, how men can't commit, how men are toxic, how men disappoint. And I'm wondering, why would I risk committing to someone who has documented hating men for over a decade?" I'm shocked by this. Didn't expect him to bring it up so directly. I respond, "That's not about you personally. That's general commentary on dating." He responds, "But I'm a man, so it is about me. Everything you've said about men applies to me in your eyes. You've said men are the problem. I'm a man, therefore I'm the problem. Why would I invest in relationship with someone who sees me as problem?" I try to explain, those posts are about patterns, not about individual men. He responds, "But commitment is to individual man, not to pattern. If you think men are the problem generally, you think I'm the problem specifically. I'm not going to risk my heart, my time, my resources on someone who has prejudged me as the problem." He ends the date early, says he doesn't think this will work. I'm devastated but also confused, thought my content wouldn't matter. I meet second man, 37-year-old entrepreneur, seems interested initially. We have great first date. He asks for second date. Things seem promising. Between first and second date, he checks my Instagram, sees my posts, sees years of content about men being the problem, men being toxic. Second date happens. He's polite, but clearly different energy than before. He says, "I have to ask you something that's been bothering me. Your social media is filled with negative content about men. You've posted thousands of times about how men are the problem. How can I trust that you don't see me that way?" I respond, "I'm here with you. That should show I don't see you that way." He responds, "But your entire platform is built on seeing men as problem. That's not something that disappears just because you're on date. That's your worldview. That's how you see men. And I can't build relationship with someone who fundamentally sees me as problem." He says he doesn't think we're compatible and ends things. I'm starting to see pattern emerging, starting to realize something. Third man, 44-year-old doctor, seems mature and stable. We connect intellectually, have good conversations about various topics. I think maybe this time I won't mention my social media presence. But of course in modern dating, people Google each other constantly. He finds my content, reads through years of posts about men being problem. He confronts me about it directly. Why do you hate men so much? I respond defensively. I don't hate men. I'm dating you. He responds. Your content suggests otherwise. You've spent over a decade posting about how men are the problem in every situation. That's not critique. That's contempt. That's deep-seated negative view. I'm not going to risk committing to someone who has contempt for my gender. Another date ends, another potential relationship gone. I'm starting to panic now, starting to realize my content is destroying my chances. Fourth man, 35-year-old software developer, seems promising initially. We have several good dates before he discovers my online presence. When he finds it, he sends me long text message explaining his concerns. I really enjoyed our time together, but I can't move forward. Your social media shows years of blaming men for everything, documenting failed relationships and making men the villains. I can't risk becoming next man you document and blame publicly. I can't risk committing to someone who will turn our private relationship into public content about how men are the problem. I need to protect myself, protect my privacy, protect my reputation. This one hurts because he's absolutely right about my pattern. I have documented relationships publicly. I have blamed men publicly. Fifth man, 40-year-old finance professional, very direct about his concerns. He brings up my content on second date, doesn't wait for me to explain. I've read your blog. I've seen your social media for years actually. You've built career on saying men are the problem. I'm a man, so logically you think I'm the problem. Why would I risk emotional investment with someone who thinks I'm the problem? Why would I risk marriage, risk children, risk my future with someone who has spent 16 years documenting why men are terrible? He responds. Or it shows you want relationship despite thinking men are terrible, which means you'll resent me throughout the relationship. You'll blame me when things go wrong because men are always the problem. I've seen this pattern too many times. I'm not going to be victim of it. He leaves, and I'm left sitting alone at restaurant realizing something profound. My content has created reputation that makes commitment impossible. No man wants to risk committing to a woman who has spent years saying men are problem. I decide to investigate this more deeply, talk to other men about it. I create an anonymous dating profile without my real name or social media links. I match with several men and ask them hypothetically about my situation. First man I ask, would you date woman who has posted online for years about men being problem? He responds immediately, absolutely not. That's relationship suicide. If she thinks men are problem, she'll think I'm problem eventually. Why would I set myself up for that? Why would I risk that kind of relationship? Second man, I've dated women like that before, women who blame men constantly. Every argument becomes about how men are the problem, how I'm the problem. It's exhausting, it's unfair, it's impossible to maintain relationship. Now I avoid women who have that mindset completely. It's self-preservation. Third man, social media is permanent record of how someone thinks. If woman has spent years posting about men being problem, that's not just content, that's her actual belief system. That's how she sees men. That's how she'll see me. I'm not risking my heart with someone who has contempt for my gender. Fourth man, the problem is trust. How can I trust woman who has documented hating men for years? Trust is foundation of commitment. Without trust, there's no relationship. Fifth man, I'd also worry about becoming content. Becoming next man she writes about when relationship fails. Having my private life documented and blamed publicly. That's violation of trust, violation of privacy. I'm realizing scope of problem I've created for myself. I talk to therapist about this situation I'm facing. Therapist asks, what did you think would happen? I respond, I didn't think about it. I was just building platform. Therapist asks, did you consider that your content might affect your personal life? I respond, no. I thought they were separate, thought men wouldn't care. Therapist responds, but they're not separate. You're the same person. The person who posts men are the problem. Is the same person looking for commitment from man. Those two things are incompatible fundamentally. I ask, how do I fix this? How do I change this situation? Therapist responds, that's a difficult question because your content is permanent. It's been online for 16 years. It's been shared millions of times. You can delete posts, but screenshots exist. Archives exist. Your reputation is established. Your views are documented. Changing that will be nearly impossible practically speaking. I'm starting to panic about future, about possibility of ever finding commitment. I decide to do something drastic. I post apology on my platform. I say, I need to address something important about my content. I've spent 16 years posting that men are the problem, and I'm realizing now that this messaging has consequences. It's affecting my ability to find commitment, to build relationship, because men don't want to risk committing to someone who has spent over a decade saying their gender is the problem. Response to my apology is immediate and divided sharply. My female followers are angry, feel betrayed, say I'm capitulating to men. You're apologizing just to get man, you're weak. You're betraying everything you've built, everything you've stood for. This is exactly what men want, for us to back down. But men who respond are different. Their responses are more nuanced. First man comments, this apology doesn't change 16 years of content. This apology doesn't change your fundamental view of men. This feels like strategic apology to get what you want, not genuine change. Second man comments, actions speak louder than words. You apologize, but your content is still up, still searchable. If you genuinely changed your mind, you'd delete all of it. But you won't because it's your income source. Third man comments, I appreciate the apology, but I still wouldn't date you. Because I don't trust that you've actually changed your views. I think you just realized your views have consequences. And now you're trying to escape those consequences without actually changing. I realize they're right. My apology was motivated by self-interest. I wanted to fix my dating prospects, not genuinely change my views. I still believed men were the problem. I just didn't want to say it anymore. I talked to my mother about this entire situation. My mother is 65, married to my father for 40 years. I ask her, did you ever think men were the problem in your relationship? She responds, sometimes your father frustrated me, but he wasn't the problem. We were partners. We worked through issues together. I never saw him as the problem. I saw us as team. I respond, but what about male privilege? What about patriarchy? She responds, those are systems, not individual men. Your father isn't the patriarchy. He's just man trying his best. You can't blame individual men for systemic issues. That's not fair. That's not productive. That destroys relationships. I ask, do you think I've been wrong all these years? She responds honestly, yes, I think you have been. I think you've blamed men for everything and taken responsibility for nothing. I think you've built career on division instead of understanding. And now you're facing consequences of that division. I ask, can I fix this? Can I change this? She responds, maybe, but it will require genuine change, not strategic apology. It will require actually examining your views and changing them. Not just changing what you say publicly, but what you believe privately. I decide to do something difficult. I go through my own past relationships. I examine them honestly, looking for my role and failures. I examine whether men were actually the problem or if I was. First relationship ended because he couldn't commit. But looking back honestly, I was impossible to please. I criticized him constantly, found fault in everything he did. I blamed him for not meeting my standards, but my standards were impossible. Maybe he couldn't commit because I was toxic partner, not because he was problem. Second relationship ended because he was emotionally unavailable. But looking back, I demanded emotional labor constantly. I wanted him to process my feelings 24/7, to be my therapist. I never gave him space to have his own emotions, his own needs. Maybe he wasn't unavailable. Maybe I was emotionally draining. Third relationship ended because he was controlling. But looking back, he was just trying to have boundaries. He wanted reasonable things like me not posting about our relationship. He wanted privacy, wanted our issues to stay between us. I called that controlling, but maybe that was just healthy boundaries. Fourth relationship ended because he didn't respect me. But looking back, I didn't respect him either. I posted about our relationship online without his consent. I shared intimate details, criticized him publicly, humiliated him. Maybe disrespect was mutual. Maybe I was just as bad or worse. I'm starting to see pattern in my own behavior. I'm starting to see that maybe I was the problem sometimes, or often. Maybe my content about men being the problem was projection of my own failures, my own inadequacies, my own toxicity. This realization is devastating, but also clarifying. I talked to one of my exes, man I dated 3 years ago. I ask him, looking back, what do you think went wrong with us? He responds carefully. You want honest answer or polite answer? I say, honest, I need honest answer. He responds, you were impossible to please, you blamed me for everything. Every time something went wrong, it was because I was man and men are problem. I couldn't win, I couldn't do anything right. Everything I did was interpreted through lens of me being the problem. Eventually, I just gave up. I couldn't keep fighting accusation that my gender was my flaw. I ask, did you love me? He responds, I did, deeply actually. But love wasn't enough when you saw me as the problem fundamentally. I couldn't keep being in relationship where I was always the villain. I ask, do you think I can change? Do you think I have changed? He responds, I don't know. Your apology seemed strategic, not genuine. You apologized because you want commitment, not because you actually changed views. If you genuinely changed, you'd delete all your content, start over. But you won't because it's your income, your identity, your brand. He's right again. Everyone keeps being right about me. I decide to do something radical. I start deleting my content. Not all of it, but I start removing the most inflammatory posts. The posts that say, all men are trash, men are the problem, kill all men. The posts that dehumanize men, that blame men for everything. I delete thousands of posts over several weeks. My followers notice. They're angry. They feel betrayed. Why are you deleting your content? Why are you backing down? This is exactly what patriarchy wants, for us to be silent. But I realize keeping that content up is guarantee of permanent loneliness. If I want any chance at commitment, at relationship, at partnership, I need to remove evidence of my contempt for men. I talked to dating expert about my situation. Dating expert says, your problem is credibility and trust. Even if you delete content, men know your history. Even if you apologize, men don't believe you've changed. You need to demonstrate genuine change over sustained period. You need to show through actions that your views have changed. I ask, how long will that take? Dating expert responds, years probably, maybe longer. You spent 16 years building reputation as man-hater. It will take many years to rebuild reputation as someone men can trust. I'm devastated by this timeline. I'm 39, I don't have years to wait. I want family, I want children, I want commitment now. But I'm realizing I've destroyed my own chances through my content. I interview other feminist influencers who post similar content. I ask them, are you worried about this affecting your personal life? First influencer, 32 years old. I'm already feeling it. Men won't date me because of my content. They see me as too radical, too anti-man. I'm starting to worry about my future. Second influencer, 35 years old. I'm single and probably will stay single. My content has made me undateable to quality men. Only men who approach me are men who don't respect themselves. Quality men avoid me because of my reputation. Third influencer, 41 years old. I regret my content deeply. I built platform on hating men and now I'm alone. I want family, but no man will risk committing to me. I've destroyed my own future for engagement metrics. I'm realizing this is wider epidemic among feminist influencers. We've built platforms on attacking men, and now we're facing consequences in our personal lives. We're alone. We're unable to find commitment. We're watching time run out. I interview men about what would make them trust feminist influencer. First man, complete deletion of all anti-male content. Public apology acknowledging harm done. Sustained period of positive or neutral content. Maybe then I'd consider it, but probably not even then. Second man, I wouldn't trust it ever, honestly. Someone who spent years hating men didn't suddenly change. More likely they're just hiding their views to get what they want. I'd never risk committing to that kind of deception. Third man, there would need to be genuine acknowledgement of harm done to men, to specific men, to society. Not just apology for getting caught facing consequences, but genuine remorse for spreading hatred. Even then, trust would be very difficult to rebuild. I realize the damage I've done is likely permanent. I realize I may never find the commitment I'm looking for. I realize I've traded future family for present platform. I talk to therapist again about accepting this reality. Therapist asks, can you accept being alone long term? I respond, I don't want to, but I'm starting to realize I may have to. Therapist says, this is consequence of your choices. You chose platform over relationships. You chose engagement over empathy. You chose anger over understanding. These choices have consequences that you're now living with. I ask, is there any hope at all for me? Therapist responds, maybe, if you genuinely change. If you spend years demonstrating that change. If you make amends to men you've hurt. If you use your platform to undo some damage you've done. Then maybe, eventually, someone might trust you. But it's not guaranteed, it's just possibility. I decide to pivot my entire platform radically. I post. I was wrong about men. I was deeply wrong. I spent 16 years saying men are the problem. I built career on blaming men, on attacking men. And now I'm facing consequences of that messaging. No man will risk committing to me because of my content. And they're right to protect themselves from me. I was toxic. I was hateful. I was wrong. I post about my failed relationships honestly. I take accountability for my role in those failures. I acknowledge that I was often the problem, not the men. I acknowledge that my view of men was distorted, biased, unfair. Response is massive, immediate, overwhelming. Some female followers thank me, say they've felt same way. Some female followers are furious, say I've betrayed them. Male followers are skeptical, say this is strategic, not genuine. But some men appreciate it. Some men acknowledge the effort. One man comments, this takes courage, acknowledging you were wrong. I still wouldn't date you, but I respect this admission. Another comments, I hope younger women see this and learn from your mistakes. Learn not to build careers on hating men. Learn not to blame entire gender for their problems. I start using platform differently now. Instead of blaming men, I talk about personal accountability. Instead of attacking men, I talk about partnership and mutual respect. Instead of posting about men being problem, I post about my own growth. My engagement drops significantly, my follower count decreases. I lose sponsorships, lose speaking opportunities, lose income. But I feel like I'm finally being honest. Finally being real instead of performing anger for engagement. I'm 39. I'm alone. I may never find commitment I'm looking for. But at least now I understand why. I understand that I created this situation through my choices. I understand that my content had real consequences. I understand that saying, men are the problem, for 16 years, made it impossible for any man to trust me with commitment. This is my story. This is my reckoning. Feminist who posted, men are the problem, for 16 years. Then realized no man will risk commitment with her. Because they don't trust woman who has spent career attacking them. This is consequence of my choices. This is price of building platform on hatred. This is what happens when you dehumanize entire gender. Then ask that gender to trust you with their heart. I may never recover from this. I may never find commitment I'm seeking. But at least now I understand that I was the problem, not men. Me? My content, my views, my hatred. I was the problem all along. And now I'm living with consequences of 16 years of saying otherwise.